This is how I went from eating nothing but ramen to retiring rich. I was born and raised in South Korea and moved to America when I was 18 years old to study in college. Back then, I had no money. In fact, all I had was a suitcase with one change of clothes and one computer. Kimchi ramen has noodles, pork belly, green onion, garlic, a soft boiled egg, and kimchi. It's spicy and savory, and my favorite. The farthest I ever walked to get groceries was about 3 miles each way. Was because I received a scholarship that covered all 4 years of my tuition. This was amazing, and it took a huge weight off my shoulders. However, it also made me a little too comfortable. I couldn't tell you who Warren Buffett was, and I thought investing was for rich people. I read a book called The Millionaire Next Door. I started by buying one share every week, which cost me about $400 a month. Because I want you guys to understand that it doesn't take much to start investing. You're letting the free market pick the stocks for you. What this means is that you don't have to worry about whether or not a company is undervalued or overvalued. But that doesn't mean that they're smarter or more talented. They simply have more experience. They've made more mistakes and learned from those mistakes. They've experienced more successes and rode those successes to greater heights. The more you invest, the better you'll get at it. The more you invest, the more confident you'll become. And the more you invest, the more successful you'll be. You don't have to worry about a company's next earnings report or their quarterly revenue. And you don't have to worry about the economy either. Transfer some money over and buy some shares. It really is that simple. Don't let another day go by without investing. Time is the most valuable thing we have. Don't waste it. Invest today and let compounding interest work its magic. When you invest in an index fund, you're investing in all of the above. There's no shortcuts, no secret strategies, and no get-rich-quick schemes. It's just about buying and holding a diversified portfolio of index funds over time. It's about getting into the habit of investing and letting compound interest work its magic. You're betting that American businesses will continue to innovate and grow over time, and you're letting compound interest work its magic. Sure, investing thousands a month will speed up your progress, but investing $20 a month will get you there eventually. I didn't know how the economy worked or how companies generated profits, but that didn't stop me from investing. You see, investing is easy. Anyone can do it. It doesn't matter if you're a stay-at-home mom, a truck driver, a teacher, or a doctor. Everyone can invest. All you need is a brokerage account and some money. If you buy one share of VOO every month and contribute for 30 years, you'll have over $500,000. If you buy 10 shares of VOO every month and contribute for 30 years, you'll have over $5 million. I know these are extreme examples, but they illustrate my point. Investing isn't about how much you invest. It's about consistently investing over time. It's about getting into the habit of investing and letting compounding interest work its magic. Even though this was quite expensive for me, I did it anyway because I wanted to be an investor. The following year, I switched to buying one share every other week, which cut my cost to about $200 a month. This is how I started building my portfolio, and it taught me that millionaires aren't made by investing in individual stocks or real estate or running a business. Instead, most of them built their wealth by saving money and investing in index funds. An index fund is a type of investment that holds all the stocks in a particular market. For example, if I wanted to invest in the S&P 500, I could buy an S&P 500 index fund and instantly own a piece of all 500 companies in that index. This was perfect for me because it was simple, diversified, and cheap. All I had to do was open a new account with a brokerage firm, transfer some money over, and buy some shares. I heard stories of people losing all their money in the stock market, and I thought the risk wasn't worth taking. I was young, optimistic, and extremely naive. I knew I would make more money over time, so I didn't feel pressure to save or invest. I was in no rush. Because I never had to worry about how much my classes cost or if I could afford to enroll. I just showed up to college and enjoyed being a student without worrying about money. For example, I chose to take classes that interested me instead of classes that would help me get a job after graduation. Also, since tuition was free, I saw no reason to work part-time. I mean, what was the point of working when I had all the free time in the world? I graduated from college in 2007, right before the Great Recession, and I had absolutely zero work experience and zero money. At the time, I felt like I was walking forever to get there. That might sound like a lot now, but it was actually quite low for someone with a bachelor's degree. On top of that, I had student loans to pay off. I lived in a studio apartment that was shared with another person. Our electricity and gas bills averaged about $100 a month. I didn't have a car, so I continued to walk everywhere. I remember the first time I drove a cab downtown. It seemed like I was driving forever. My school was also about 3 miles away, and I walked there every day too. In fact, I walked everywhere. I walked to the post office, the bank, and even to the mall. The furthest I ever traveled by bus was to a city about 30 minutes away. There were these two Chinese restaurants near the bus station that served authentic Chinese food like sweet and sour chicken, fried rice, and lo mein. These two meals were my favorite cheat meals back then because they were both under $5. Chicken ramen has soft, chewy noodles, a bunch of vegetables like green onion, garlic, and spinach, as well as chicken-flavored broth. Beef ramen has chewy noodles, a rich beefy broth, green onion, parsley, and garlic. Shrimp ramen has chewy noodles, a sour tomatoey broth, green onion, cilantro, and garlic. Now back then I loved eating this every single day. It was convenient and filled me up. But now that I'm older, I can't stomach the thought of eating it more than once a week. I still have nightmares about it, and even though my parents had saved up enough money to pay for my tuition and housing, I chose to live off campus with a bunch of other Korean students because I wanted to experience living on my own. My roommates and I paid around $600 a month for rent, which was very cheap at the time. We were all broke college students, so we spent most of our days studying and most of our nights playing video games or watching TV. We didn't go out much, and the only food we could afford to eat every day was instant ramen. There were 4 main flavors that we would rotate: kimchi ramen, chicken ramen, beef ramen, and shrimp ramen. Back then, we didn't have Uber Eats or DoorDash, so if we ran out of ramen, we would take turns going to the grocery store. One of the reasons why I ate ramen every day in college, my first job, was an entry-level position at a bank where I earned $35,000 a year. In addition to having no financial education, I was also afraid of investing. I had no idea how the stock market worked, but when I was 25, something changed. The very first index fund I ever bought was the OO, which is the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF. Now, the reason why I mention how much I spent every month is, you see, when you buy an index fund, you're not picking individual stocks. When I started investing, I didn't know anything about the stock market. It's true that some people are better at investing than others, so if you're wondering how to start investing, don't overthink it. Just do it. Open a new account with a brokerage firm. Some people say investing is gambling. Others say it's too risky, but I disagree. Investing is the least risky way to build wealth. If you're willing to start with $20 a month, I'll show you how to retire rich.